What's going on, YouTubes? Time for recap. So, another wonderful downside day where we hit our algo targets. If you watched our last video, I'll put it in the link in the description. I gave you right where the SPY was going to for the short, and the ending bounce of the day was a big surprise. So, in the Discord here, as we go over a few things, I left my chat with this call right here. This was 7 minutes before open. We posted it and talked about it way before that, though, about a half hour prior to this. So if you zoom in here, if we would have went long over the pre-market open, we were looking for GPs like always on Qs. If not, big red candles down to the 50, which is 514.31 on the Qs. And then we came up here for the SPY and I said 50, big red entry down to 584.31. So that was our trade plan for the day for the shorts. Through the P&Ls and everything that we posted, we did pretty good. Got a little over 4,700 on one side of the accounts and another three grand on the top. So altogether, about 78 just on the props. And then for the rest of our time here, we had some really good calls in Discord. So let's talk about them. Let's see what happened here. So as the notes say, the 50 fib of yesterday, again, if you watch the YouTube, right, we'll start there. We said it was going to low fly into the GP. We had the Trump tweet. It got bought back up, hit our GP target for the long, and dumped right into here. If you didn't watch the YouTube video last time, the target was this guy here. And I came through and I said, if you fibbed this algo out, we were going to hit the 50 fib. So you see the price level right here, 584.31 and 584.86. That was the 50 fib along with another golden 50 daily that we needed, all paired together for our short target. So that's why I call the rejection potential of 50 fib rejection down to big short target on the day, arrows pointing right here to the channel. Once the short target was hit, massive reversal, which was a surprise to me, upside. But as you know, I follow algorithmic magnets, right? So anything under the VWAP is what I told my crew, short entry watch at the 50. So once the Trump tweet came about, he knocked us back down, and then we had a really good trade plan. I said, okay, well, Trump tweet knocked us down to yesterday's lows. There's not a good chance we're going to continue with that. We're probably going to bounce all the way back up to the golden pocket, as we suggested on YouTube yesterday for resistance. And we did. We actually opened the short here at the lower GP, 588.80. We took the early morning short, got out right here, shy of the T1. We seen a pop come in, right? Seen a little bit of fluff up, and then it went for the 50. And as we already noted here, it says short entry watch fails under. And that was for 589.64, as we made a little note for. And then we had our big short target of the day, ran straight through. And again, that surprise was there. Now that algo target way back here, again, send those to the right. That's where that golden pocket came from, right there. And again, even with that NVIDIA call, I said we would probably end lower and want to see some death on the chart. As I've kept saying over and over again here, we're looking for that loop this week. But because it is such a holiday short week here, a lot of the times they kind of stick to consolidation / bullish, right? So we did complete the 10 SMA loop. We got a lower low break today. And then, of course, completed this 50 as well. So we also fibbed out this right here for the golden pocket tag because we missed the 50. So this is another level that I had on. That's the gold level I was just talking about. So right there you can see where that channel was created with that big box that we had on the other chart there. That is from this 529 daily. Well, let me check on that. 29 might be 527. So 27 daily. So this 27 daily right here, the high low fib, as long as we were under, right, the 100, we come to the golden pocket 50. We hit the GP yesterday, bounced a little bit, and then again, anything under, we always fib out. Oh, cancer pains. We always fib out the day prior for the golden fibs, right? So the whole setup, as I'd posted on YouTube last night as well, was your chance to follow the golden pocket short, and we always make our prior high low shorts. So that's where we got every single level for the day. And the GP 50 fail all the way down to the next GP that needed a magnet, right? So you can see a lot of the oscillation indicators here where we had a little bit of a run up after the cool. We never really got too hot on the RSI, just kind of fluttered back down to the low channel under the 50 RSI. And that's generally bearish when the RSI kind of sits under that or chops it. The other piece to the pie was the volatility index. So I had the volatility index marked as well for us. And I said, guys, if we go up, we have to squeeze the 100 EMA, okay, in the green. So 100 EMA here is in the green. We broke under that. And I said, all right, well, if we're under VWAP on SPY and QQQ, we're going to see a potential breakout here of the VIX. And she's got to run to 2071. That was the top of the day. We made it very close to that. We just ran into the prior daily gap again, about 20 some cents away. Give or take a little bit there, 30, coming into the potential target for the long. And then last but not least, I did give you guys a gap target, or at least my crew, a gap target right here. This has a very interesting gap in the pre-market action right at 1871. It's actually a double gap if you notice the overnight gap right here, and then an intraday gap right here, right? And the volatility index, I said, well, if it goes back long, the VIX has to chase this algorithm gap, right? Well, there you have it, the last candle of the day. It made it all the way over the 100 EMA for the big short squeeze, hit our algo target on the QQQ and SPY, and came down and hit our VIX gap, which, again, that was a very big surprise on that one. We'll go into one little trade here. I just want to cover on the NQ, or not a little trade, a bunch of different trades here, but I want to go over one interesting one that we had with the Fibbies, okay? So the Trump candle was pretty much one of the higher volume candles. And as we always note for oscillation indicators, we try to see how much time the line spends on the RSI above or below the 50. And if you notice here on that RSI, the oscillation indicator is showing you that for a majority of the time, we have spent underneath that 50. That was all low shot for this, right? That was a potential to go down. Now, the Trump candles, they provide us with a couple interesting views here. I was on the 15 and the 5 with this one. And I do want to bring up 2 points of interest about this fib and the moving average. So the initial big dump here is 7 a.m. candle, right? We had tons of data today, plus the Trump tweets. We fibbed out that candle to the downside. So first and foremost, like always, whenever there is a unique candle on the screen, that is a very large 15-minute candle right here, we fib it to the high-low. It's interesting because it hits the 666 SMA, the volume weighted average price, almost 100. We'll come back to that. But we did that Fibonacci high-low pointed to the downside, boop. And then what are the rules? 1618 hits. Generally, we come back to the 100 and the golden pocket, which we got both of. So the 15 was made, and one key little driver here in this area here was yesterday's close. That's the white dash line here as well. So we do talk a lot about the prior bodies, and if we cannot get over that body, we can't get into the body, right, of yesterday's close, can't push up through. Generally, we'll have a rejection first before it attempts it again. So that was also a really good area. When we go to the 5-minute chart here, with 15-minute fibs, this is one of my favorite things to do. I'll fib out a high-low on a 15. I'll jump to a 5-minute or a 1-minute for an entry. And one thing we did see right here was an interesting structure break, right? So we had this big old, not big old wash, but it was after a 3-up. The market moves in threes, right? So 1 push off the Trump, 2 push off the Trump, 3 push. See those unnatural little flags right there kind of pushing on the 5-minute chart. We had the base, we had 1 pushback, 2, 3. And that's what I said. And I said, well, 3 up came down. We could do a short. That right there was the opening morning short we took because the pattern play was 1, 2, 3. And that's just one little tiny thing I look for, rejection of yesterday's close. 100 EMA moving averages are all there as well with that 15. Now, later on, we started failing here on mini structure break as well. RSI broke down to the bottom channel. We had the MACD starting to separate to the downside. And it was one of my favorite time of the day, 10:30 to 11 a.m. when the European algos close and we can see formation of a different trend, right? We can reverse. So if this was being held up by a low, higher low, looking for long, could not get higher, just kept topping out at yesterday's close. Well, when the algo shut down in Europe right here and it goes, all right, time for maybe a trend change, you got to be careful. It did give you about 25 to 35 minutes here in the 5-minute with this low structure break. What does that look like? Well, zoom in a little bit here on the 5-minute. We had this last push, consolidation, break. Okay, that's the first little structure break right there on the 5, pops up, gives you a lower high, break, lower low, pop back up, lower high, break. And again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, market loves to move in threes on trend. So that gave us the big old pool throw to the bottom side here, breaking down RSI and MACD during this 30-minute plus consolidation, giving you a lot of time to enter short, right? Staying inside and under the golden pocket of the 15 to move you to the 1618. Your stop out obviously would have been something breaking over the golden pocket of the 15 and attempting a higher high in trend dominancy to the upside, which we did not get. So just a quick little recap there for you guys. Oh, I said I would come back. I lied. 15 minutes. I said I'd come back to the 100. I don't want to lie to you guys. Also, the magnet for the end of the day, I also found interesting. We talk a lot about confirmation, right? So this was the whole trade session. Here to here yesterday, right? See the white dashed lines that are vertical. Notice the 15-minute 100 EMA break right here. And then we shied it and then returned to it. And we talk a lot about shying. The algorithms, my hat's all jacked up. The algorithms always like to shy and then come back to those moving average, trapping a lot of both sides. And we know how to target those traps. So when the 100 EMA broke back here and ran down and kind of hovered the 666 you see right there, notice really close when you zoom in to that 100 EMA today, we never got actual tags, right? It shied away, also showing extreme weakness, okay? Now, that did return after that crazy bounce. Again, look at the fib, 1618. This was our absolute target short on the SPY. Comes back up and finally tags it end of day. So interestingly enough for those magnets to return to the 100 EMA that it once shied prior same day. So if you want to hang out with us, come in for the chat. The link is in the description. Come hang out with us. If you want to win some Muda, all you got to do is make sure you're subscribed, throw a like on the video, and make sure to comment. I grab cash and just give it away in the weekends for anybody that supports the channel. Simple as that. Thanks again for tuning in. See you on the next.